G'day, me again. Just carrying on the series of install videos of this brand new 2021 79 series Land Cruiser. Still unregistered. I finished installing the X-Bar yesterday. Separate video of the install of that and the little catches you can come across which might help you out. I've done that as a separate video you can watch. And today I'll be installing the Direction Plus Pre-Line Plus pre-filter kit and a Provent Catchcan. Everything in the box is laid out here. The instructions are just a QR code, but I've actually printed them out. And a quick shot at the brand new engine bay as it comes standard before I start to modify things. First step is to remove this bypass hose. It just goes from the little black box there in front of the intercooler down to the intake pipe that runs from the airbox down to the turbo. Quite simple and quite soft. You just undo the clips and twist and pull. Remove the hose, but you've got to keep the clamps. Okay, after you remove the bypass hose, they want you to fit the two short 16mm hoses onto the in and outlet, secure it with the factory clamp, and then put two of the 90-degree hose joiners in with the clamps that they've supplied. It's reasonably straightforward. Just be careful, this is plastic, and they do recommend a bit of rubber lubricant or WD-40 to help push the hose on. I don't think that's a bad idea, otherwise you may snap that plastic box. Then you need to, on your ABS controller, you've got to remove the bolt closest to the engine down there underneath the cable, and sorry, not the bolt, the nut, and the one at the back here. And then the bracket, you've got to sort of thread it through the two brake lines here, so underneath the top one and above the next one. And then I tried both ways, but it's best to have the bracket on the front side of this hose. If you put it on the inside, it seems to put too much pressure on this plug. And then there are three holes in the sidewall here. After a bit of experimenting, I found that using the front one is the best hole that lines up. I also tried this bracket on top and underneath, and with the angle that's on this on the bracket here, I found that on top it seems to sit the best. I haven't tightened it up yet. The next they say to bolt the Provent on, but first you've got to put the 1 meter long 12mm what is actually fuel hose onto the catch can, and then put the tap on the bottom. And just take note that the position it's in now is actually closed. It's a left-hand thread, so if you turn it anti-clockwise like you would open a normal tap, it actually screws in, which is in the open position now for the drain. And then you turn it clockwise as you would turn a normal tap. It actually screws it out and turns it off. As you mount the Provent onto the bracket, you got to run the drain hose down. I've got it running underneath the two power steering lines, and then underneath the airbox, that's this hose here, and down in front. And so it drops out just here in front of the recovery points. I think that'll be all right. Have to reassess it when I put the bull bar and that on. Hopefully the bull bar will cover it a bit. We'll push it up a bit higher. Cable tied up there, that'll be out of sight. should be in front of most splashing, etc. So see how that goes. So it says to bolt the Provent onto the bracket, but it doesn't mention anything about these reducers and right angle connectors. So I suggest you put these on before you put the Provent on the bracket. It'll just make it a bit easier for you. And I suggest you put the elbow onto the reducer before you put the reducer onto the vent can. It just makes it all a bit easier. It was a bit fiddly doing it while the vent can was on the bracket. So once you've got the reducer and the 90-degree joiner on, simply a matter of using the longer hose. So there's an 800mm hose. The longer one goes in the bottom, and I just routed it just underneath this wiring harness and around into the intake manifold, and then this one is the shorter one, 700mm one, goes from the top, which is actually the inlet, to the actual ventilation, crankcase ventilation on the engine. So the route is it actually comes out, the air comes out here, into the top, through the filter, and then back out the bottom and back to the intake. I haven't tightened any of these brackets up yet. I'm still just making sure there's no catches while I install the fuel filter. Anyway, that was the Provent installation. It's quite simple. Everything fits nicely where it's supposed to, into original holes, so there's no drilling, etc. The only thing I did do, I loosened that clamp off. It was orientated like this one, and so it probably was going to rub, so I just moved it around a bit. This is all going anyway. I'm getting a different airbox and intake and that from GSL, and the thermo fans on top here. Anyway, hopefully this won't interfere with any of that install. Cheers.